his grand mea culpa video offended them, and said it has become clear that Biden was struggling to understand exactly why his actions were inappropriate. This isn't about sexual assault, one woman said. It's about power dynamics between men and women. Utterly shocking body camera footage was released Thursday, showing what led to one officer's arrest and felony assault charges, and the suspension without pay of 2 others. What started over an alleged noise complaint quickly turned into a gang-style beatdown of several innocent men. The Free Thought Project reports that police, March 16th, were responding to a call over a loud party when the incident began. For several moments, officers held down a man as one of them kicked him repeatedly. At one point, another cop stepped in and put an end to the beating. Had he not, someone may have been beaten to death. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat, online at snls.news and libertybeat.news. I'm Mick Murrow. Your news now continues. The U.S. House of Representatives has voted in favor of ending U.S. involvement in the war in Yemen, but the bill is expected to be vetoed by President Donald Trump as the White House cites serious constitutional concerns. The Free Thought Project reports the House voted 247 to 175 in favor of the resolution to direct Trump to end U.S. military involvement in the war within 30 days and to end support for the Saudi-led coalition that it has been backing. Campaigners have organized rallies nationwide in order to give voice to the widespread public demand the report submitted to the U.S. Department of Justice by Special Counsel Robert Mueller be disclosed to members of Congress and the public with as little redaction as possible, without further delay. Spearheaded by a coalition of progressive groups, including Move On, Public Citizen, People for the American Way, and Indivisible, more than 300 rapid response events across the country have been scheduled to make it clear that people want the report made available to lawmakers and the public. In addition to the dispersed rallies nationwide, people in Washington, D.C. plan to demonstrate outside the White House Thursday afternoon to demand Attorney General William Barr release the full report to the U.S. House Judiciary Committee and as much information as possible to the public. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting with the latest edition of the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Millions of Americans are irrationally feared dead following a train derailment near Wilmington, Delaware.
Less than 200 people were aboard the train, but because no names have been released yet, countless more are being imagined trapped inside the wreckage by worried parents and overly anxious friends.
And the list of imagined victims is growing by the minute. From brothers-in-law who live in Delaware, who usually drive but could possibly have been on that train, to friends who went to Delaware on a business trip and may have been next to the tracks for some reason when the train derailed.
And sadly, we're getting reports that even those who have never been to Delaware are now also among those irrationally thought killed.
Oh, and we are just now getting word from Homeland Security that they're now warning people their fears may spiral into a wholly new fear that their loved ones never existed at all and are just byproducts of a drug-induced lucid dream in which their consciousness is currently imprisoned.
Such a shame, since this is reality.
There is nothing beyond this. To believe otherwise would be folly.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number, and we'd love to have you join us. The us tonight is myself, Chris.
I'm Ian.
And Rich Paul.
And we're here to talk about current events. We're going to talk about probably some past events too. But we're going to talk about things that are topical, and we're going to talk about things that have to do with liberty, because liberty is very, very important to me, and it should be to you too. And if you're not sure where to tune to find out more about what's going on in the world and how it affects your liberty, please remember Free Talk Live, again, 855-450-FREE. And one of the topics we like to talk about a lot, we hate to talk about, I should say, we hate to talk about war. Don't we, Rich?
Well, we love to run our mouths about it. We just don't like the fact that it actually exists.
We don't like that. And we don't believe that most wars are necessary. And I think most people believe that, World War II, that was a just war. Vietnam, we got into for all the right reasons. The Civil War, we had to do something, right, Rich?
See, I don't think we got into the Vietnam for the right reasons.
You got to stop communism. You got to use violence to stop communism,
well,
right?
the thing is,
sorts of reasons.
Communism is stupid. Communism will stop itself.
It sure does.
If you just leave it alone.
We did find that out, didn't we?
Yeah.
We keep finding it out. Look at Venezuela right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although, again, it irritates me that they put these sanctions on Venezuela, which then gives all the communists an excuse. And it's like Venezuela was starving long before there were any sanctions.
Well, the communists, of course, would argue that, it was socialism in Venezuela. It wasn't true communism.
Well,
communism light.
Socialism and communism, it's a means of degree. Ayn Rand said the difference was between communism and socialism is communism was murder and socialism was suicide.
Well put. But even if you go back to the teachings of Marx, Marx recognizes that socialism is a step towards communism. That is one of the steps that you got to go through before you get full-blown.
Well, they need to have a government, right? In order to get to the perfect plateau of communism, this dream of theirs.
And actually, after that, the state was supposed to just fade away.
Shut down, sure.
And then, we were going to have anarchy. That was, even his promised land was anarchy. He just thought we had to go through a bloodbath first. I'd kind of like to skip the bloodbath, because, you're not going to find a socialist state that isn't a bloodbath. People talk about the Scandinavian countries, and A, the Scandinavian countries aren't as good as they're made out to be, but B, they're also not socialist. They have freer markets than we do in a lot of ways.
And there's been a lot of discussion about that, because time and time again, you're going to have Bernie Sanders, you're going to have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez speaking about this wonderful thing that the Swedish experiment is what's going on in Norway. How come they only pay X amount of dollars for insulin over there, and all these excuses? But it's good to see when our foreign policy changes in a way that may mean less bloodshed. And one place that we have certainly supported,
you mean the government?
Bloodshed, our government, policy? Yes, has been in Yemen. And this headline from the AP today: Congress invokes powers to challenge Trump on war in Yemen. From Washington, rejecting a plank of President Donald Trump's foreign policy, the House on Thursday invoked never-before-used powers to demand that his administration withdraw support from the Saudi-led war in Yemen. The Senate passed the same resolution in March with bipartisan support. Trump is expected to issue a veto of this measure. He is second in his presidency, and Congress does not have the votes to override him. But the action was nonetheless a milestone for lawmakers who have shown a renewed willingness to assert their war-making powers after letting them atrophy for decades under presidents from both parties.
Hold on. I thought it was asking him to, or telling him to, withdraw support from the Saudis. What does that mean? Doesn't that mean pull troops out, or what is that?
One would think. So that
they're not making war in that case. They would be trying to stop it,
right? But what this article is pointing out, that there is a constitutional mandate that says should war be declared on anyone, that has to come from Congress.
From Congress.
It has to come from the people. That's basically what they're saying, and that was the idea behind the founders saying that was.
Now, what the powers that be have been telling us for a long time now is since the passage of the War Powers Act, that's no longer necessary.
Right.
It's really going to be really interesting to watch them reverse themselves on that issue now with respect to this president.
Exactly. And we're talking about the House, which is, it's in Democrat hands right now. So is this the Democrats becoming the anti-war party? Are they reasserting, as this article says, are they reasserting their war powers prerogatives under the Constitution? And are they going to come back and say, nope, Mr. Trump, you cannot go to war because we never authorized it?
I'll tell you what, that would really make me wonder what was going on in Yemen to make it important enough for them to do that.
Indeed.
And it would also make me think that maybe Trump isn't another puppet to the extent that I think he is.
Well, yeah, to me,
that's very strange. That's not how they usually behave.
What are the never-before used powers?
I don't know.
What is that?
And I'd like to get back into this because they really are. There are no never before you.
It's been a couple hundred years. Never before?
I think they might. If it's talking never before used power, I think it might be the power of Congress to withdraw troops from somewhere that the president has sent them after a period of time, because that is in the War Powers Act.
Let's get ahead here. The president will have to face the reality that Congress is no longer going to ignore its constitutional obligations when it comes to foreign policy, said Democratic Representative Elliot Engel of New York, chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Yemen was plunged into a civil war in September 2014 when rebels known as Houthis swept into the capital and overthrew the country's internationally recognized government. The Saudi-led coalition began fighting the rebels months later in a campaign that Saudi Arabia said was aimed at curbing Iranian influence. At the time, the Houthis were allied with forces backed by Iran. In the years that followed, Iran's role in the conflict has grown. So, well, let's continue. Let's see if they talk a little about this.
So the Saudis and Iran are fighting in Yemen? Is that what's going on here?
The Saudis have always fought the Yemen forces because they were allied with Iran. Iran is a enemy of Saudi Arabia and an enemy of the United States.
Okay.
So by extension,
are they an enemy of the United States government, or is the United States government an enemy to them? Because I've never really heard of any Iranians doing us any harm, with the exception of, I mean, when I say us, I mean the government that doesn't actually represent me.
Right.
But the only time I remember them doing something that was incomprehensible to me at the time was when they took over the embassy.
Right.
In was it, 78?
Never forget.
I was 10 years old.
You're
when
acting
that
like
happened.
this wasn't recent news.
Well, I was 10 years old when this happened. So
I remember that.
And the amazing thing about that is that the thing that I remember most clearly is people wailing, "Why do they hate us?"
Yes.
And it wasn't until years later that I found out that revolution was against a dictator that our CIA had installed, named the Shah of Iran, and they overthrew a democratically elected prime minister to do that.
We have to look at history, especially when we talk foreign policy, and these things go back decades after decades. 855 450 free. This is Free Talk Live.
What is it costing you in vet bills for that convenience of just pulling open a bag of
formulated, extruded, processed cereal bits that cost a ton of money anyways?
How do you feed your dog to derive not only energy, but a good coat, bright eyes, and a great attitude?
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
I found his raw meat diet on Dynavite.com. With just the raw meat and the eggs and the Dynavite and the Super Omega on top of it.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
Ground beef, white rice, eggs, including the shells, and the Dynavite supplement, and then the Lico Chops.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
It just balances out his body and his mind and his spirit.
Adding Dynavite to their diet has every single dog in my kennel looking better than they have ever looked.
Their skin is so much better now that they're on the raw diet. I don't even give them the kibble anymore.
DINOVITE.com. Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISS Paris.com.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's our toll-free number. You can also hit us up on Discord. Discord is a super cool app. You can load it on your phone. You can load it on your PC. And if you've got a microphone and a reasonably fast internet connection, you can connect and talk to us here on the show. You'll sound like you are here in the studio. You can find out more on how to connect at discord.lrn.fm. And we've been talking about Congress, we've been talking about Trump and the ongoing war in Yemen, and what this means when this article claims that the Democrats who hold the House are going to reassert their powers and reign...
For the first time ever, it says.
For the first time ever, and rein in some of Trump's foreign policy. I might point out that this is actually an extension of Obama's policy, because that's when all this stuff started. This was all under the Obama administration.
Trump, the supposed peace president.
Yes.
It would be interesting to look up what. Do you mean Obama, the supposed peace
Trump
president?
advertised himself as a peace president.
See,
on the run up to the election, or just after the election.
The thing about Trump and foreign policy is he blows like the wind on it in a lot of things. I mean, you can find him saying, that Iraq was a waste of money and we need to stay in Iraq, within months of each other.
Sure.
There were a couple of times. I mean, I was hoping he was going to be Ron Paul on the issue because it's the only. When he says America first to me means first and foremost end every single war.
Right.
Bring the troops home, right?
Yeah. And that was part of Trump's campaign promise. Trump was going to be a non-interventionalist president. That's what he talked about. We need to get out of these expensive foreign wars.
I mean,
why are we there?
We've spent trillions of dollars over there just on budget. That's not even whatever, including whatever they've spent in covert black ops over there. And what have we gotten for it? Can
a military industrial complex.
Military lover tell me that the Middle East is better than it would have been if we just minded our own business from World War II onward?
Well, the profits at the military industrial complex have benefited from it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah. And the amazing thing is they're the guys that make the predictions that say all these things are necessary.
Of course,
yeah.
And politicians will follow them up. Right now, within the last year, we have surpassed the dates when 18-year-olds are serving in Afghanistan and Iraq who were born into those conflicts. You know what I mean? Because we're now past 18 years that we've been in Afghanistan and we've been in Iraq. So these are kids that we've always been at war. My
How
whole
long
life.
were we at Vietnam?
So let me think, 62 to 73, 74.
Okay,
it was long.
So you're looking at 12 years there. This is 5 years longer already,
right?
Than Vietnam was. That's a long time, and the casualties over there haven't stopped. It's not like they're subdued over there.
No, not at all. And to remind our listeners, those casualties are not just a bunch of Afghanis hiding in a cave. These are American soldiers. These are the people that we really should be supporting by helping bring them home. And the idea, this
get them out
is
of the military, get a real job, and get into the productive economy too.
Right, like what happened after World War II. After World War II, every economist was convinced that, man, this whole thing's going to come crashing down because we're going to have this huge influx of men who suddenly need work. What are we going to do? We got Rosie the Riveter taking jobs. What's going to happen when they all come back? We had one of the biggest booms in our economy in history because we had a surplus of capital in the term in human capital, and that was an amazing thing. That's not something we need to be worried about. You don't need to keep wars going to keep economies going.
Well, this is the same objection that people bring up on the immigration side as well. It's like, there's all these people going to take our jobs. And the same thing's true.
They took our jobs.
My God, there's a whole wave of thousands coming from, and there's another wave, I think I heard. There's more people coming up.
Another one?
That's what I heard recently. It's just all this fear-mongering around. It's like, the market can handle it. It always has.
Well, they can't handle enough avocados, evidently. That's been a big thing lately.
I mean, the problem is the market can handle it if left
it's free.
alone.
Yeah, and it's
right.
But the market isn't free. So, we're kind of between a rock and a hard place where my preference is let them in and repeal the welfare state. My second preference is if you're not going to repeal the welfare state, don't let any more people in. And by the way, stop getting pregnant too.
Yeah, that's not, a libertarian perspective, right? To say don't let them in means you need to have a border patrol, and you need to have enforcement, and you need to have checkpoints, and so on and so forth. Didn't you have something about? Were there some immigration raids recently? I feel like you had something.
Yeah, we will. We'll probably get to that story too. But a record raid in Texas.
There you go. Crack down.
The thing is, I don't want to have one more person with their hand on the gun to my head. And I'm in a position where there's a gun to my head by the government, and
I'll tell you, a silly analogy, man.
I'll tell you what I would say is, if anybody tells me that he supports the NAP, I support his right to come to America, and I don't care where he comes from. The non-aggression principle,
but
so long as he's willing to commit to not initiating force against people here, then I think that would be great.
So is your concern, Rich, that people will come here and just sponge off the rest of us and take advantage of our wonderful free programs we have for everyone?
There are people who will do that, and there are also people who will come here and work hard and do things that Americans won't do at that price.
Yes.
But there exists some number X for which an American will wash your toilet. It might be a higher number.
All I know is what I've read in stuff from Cato and from a number of other think tanks, from Washington, basically saying that despite all this concern and consternation, it is a net win for us to have illegal immigration. We're ahead in terms of real world numbers, that we benefit by them being here and lower
some
food
people take
costs.
Advantage of them.
They do. But even when you factor all that in, when you factor in that some percentage of them are going to sit on welfare and not do anything, when you factor that all in, it's still a net benefit. 855, 450 free. What do you think? Should we kick them all out? Should we go full Rich Paul on them? And now I'm just putting words in your mouth, dude. I'm kidding.
Holy moly.
Should we just kick them all out? Should we welcome them with open arms?
No, actually, my position is we should welcome them with open arms and no welfare state.
855, 450 free. Free Talk Live.
The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The deep state began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
Anytime, any place, anywhere, radio remains the most intimate of all forms of media. At home, at work, in the car, on smartphones. Over 90% of consumers still listen to radio every week. That makes choosing radio as a place to advertise your business one of the best decisions you can make. Email advertise@gcnlive.com and partner up with an experienced GCN representative. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's how you can get in touch with us via our toll-free number. That's 855-45... Jeez, here we go. See, every other week, my mind just resets and I completely forget this phone number. 855...
Of all the things he's lost, he misses his mind the most.
855-450-3733. There we go. In studio tonight.
Do we have a cookie for him?
Oh, I should.
He got through it.
You should. You should.
I don't think he needs a special cookie right now. That's probably not
special cookie.
Good idea.
That might not be
no,
a bad
definitely
idea.
not a special cookie for him. He's like the sober.
The sober one.
I got an excuse, bro. What about you?
Exactly. But my excuse is that I want to talk about this, and that's Bitcoin.com. Bitcoin.com is your premier source for everything Bitcoin related. Bitcoin.com can help you choose a wallet, buy Bitcoin, and show you where you can spend your Bitcoin. You can also read the latest news and engage with the community on the Bitcoin forums. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. Great news source. Those guys are on top of what's going on in crypto, and crypto's been a little interesting lately. Interesting lately for most people means that the price of your favorite coins has gone up a bit. So like Bitcoin, I think just maybe a week or two ago was trading at around 3,800, 34.
Yeah, 4,000.
Yeah, and then it hit 4,000, and then it hit 42, and now it's up around 5,000 when I checked before. I think right before I left the house, it was somewhere around
it went from
4,800.
It went from like 42 to 5,000 in an hour.
Yeah.
One night. Just shot up.
For those of us who remember the insanity of 2017, I say that like it was decades ago, but 2017 saw Bitcoin jump from around $1,000 up to $19,000, right. Which was...
That was exciting.
It was exciting, and it
took a whole year for that to happen, but it happened.
But what a year it was!
Yeah,
it was mania in my opinion, and I think things settled down, and Bitcoin kind of found its natural equilibrium. If you look at it over a long term, it sort of continues its march when it was around 3,400, 3,800, 4,000, and I think it's continuing.
Do you think though that there was any intentionality to it?
I think a lot of people wanted it to happen.
To the run up?
Well, do you think it was a pump and dump? Because one of the things that I predicted when we first started talking about Bitcoin was that the Federal Reserve, through its minion banks, would pump and dump Bitcoin, and this would be good for us because they would make us very rich in the process of doing this if we knew it was happening and we knew when to let go.
Right. Were markets manipulated? I think the possibility is always there for a state actor to do that sort of thing. What makes it a little trickier with Bitcoin is some of the features of Bitcoin. It is an open ledger. We can really see a lot of what's going on. So I know
see the big buys and sells.
Yeah, and
we can see what the whales are doing. We can see what wallets represent the whales, but we cannot see generally who is behind the wallet.
Well, in this
that's the design. That's what we were looking for. That's not a criticism.
Yeah, exactly. What we did know was happening during this big run-up was it sort of started with a $100 million buy of Bitcoin.
Whew.
And that was
can you imagine?
Yeah, that's been tracked. Somebody dumped $100
they did
million.
It over 3 different exchanges, I think, over like a period of time.
Yeah.
See, that big a chunk of change, given the scale of that market, then could have been enough to set off the whole boom by itself.
It could have, but we also had some positive news coming out of places like Jack Dorsey of Twitter and
what's he doing?
Well, a couple different things.
Because he also runs Square, right?
He owns Square.
Runs
and
it. Does he own it?
Owns it.
Oh, really?
CEO of Square.
Okay.
He had originally come up with a Cash App, so where you held your Square Cash, you could actually buy Bitcoin through that. That was a big move. And then he announced that he was going to be hiring crypto engineers to work reporting directly to him for Square. So this really sounded to me like adoption at the Square app level, which would be a big deal because if anybody's ever gone into a restaurant and you saw that they had the little tablet with a little swipey thing and they process your credit card right there, that's Square. And if you could make every single place able to
take Bitcoin
and take
if
other
that's what he's got in mind,
because I want to hold my Bitcoin as long as possible.
Well, you're not the ideal customer.
Yeah.
Then, Rich.
I'm saying even the Bitcoin that I want to spend, I don't want to turn it into dollars the day before and then spend it. I want to hold it as Bitcoin until the moment that I spend it,
and spend it as Bitcoin.
And spend it as Bitcoin, but if the receiver immediately turns it into dollars, I don't care.
Not your problem.
Because somebody else turned dollars into Bitcoin.
Right. It's going to be interesting to see. We've got Matthew calling from Louisiana. He's listening on TuneIn. Matthew, you're on Free Talk Live.
So I'm calling to say I'm pretty disappointed in my parish of Jefferson.
What now?
My parish of Jefferson.
Okay.
We've had a plastics plant, and they produce those plastic pellets that get extruded overseas and in the United States into plastic products that we so love and adore all over the world. Well, they decided they wanted to expand because they had a client on their property who took one of the byproducts of their plastic production and turned it into a different kind of plastic pellet.
Okay.
And it was a win-win-win.
Sounds like it.
The problem was the byproduct of their production, the first plastics company, was hydrogen cyanide. Now, they didn't ship it out. They weren't exporting it. They weren't giving kids in the neighborhood little vials of it. No, they were keeping it on site until their client company produced it into their kind of plastic pellets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But they had so much business for some strange reason all over the world for their plastic pellets that they wanted to expand. And they were good little boys and girls, and they went down to the parish council. And the parish council looked at their staff. This is pretty routine, and they approved it.
Okay.
Somehow,
So what's...
the news media found out about it. And next thing you know, they are brigaded by people.
cyanide.
Oh, my God, it's cyanide! We're all going to die!
Even though no one has died as a result of...
I can absolutely hear the news teaser, too. Is your children's lunch being manufactured with cyanide? More after this.
Tonight at
Tune
11.
in at 11. Oh, my God. So cyanide is made in lots of processes. I mean, it's part of almost every plastic process.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's you know,
you tell people
how about
that,
super
and they
glue?
think,
Cyanoacrylate.
yep.
Yeah.
You tell people that, and they react with total panic and fear, like the stuff is spewing out of there or something. And this company has been operating for 40 years.
So has anything
Never
happened
an
as a
incident.
result of this uproar? Has the council reversed its decision?
Oh, yeah, the council reversed this decision, with the exception, I will admit, and I'm kind of proud of the guy. I think he's a little nutty. But my council critter, Dominic Impastato, which is kind of a nutty name to begin with, said, no, this is ridiculous. He stood his ground and said, you're being brigaded by, possible bots and fools.
Fearmongers.
And the rest of them just ran for the tall grass,
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Outvoted.
And I don't even know how many people called them
Yeah,
about
it doesn't
the issue.
matter anyway.
Yeah. Hey, Matthew, thank you for the call.
They do what they want.
Cyanide. You're going to find out that almost every manufacturing plant puts out something you don't like, and it's going to sound scary. 855-450-FREE. What do you not want to see in your backyard?
Government.
News at 11.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggosuds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggosud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggosuds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Business owners, you want more customers? Accept cryptocurrencies. There's people all around you just waiting to spend money at your store. If only you would take it. I know, you've been waiting till someone else makes it easy. Well, good news. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com adds Bitcoin to your point of sale, totally free. Use the same equipment you already have, now with Bitcoin. And unlike credit cards, there's no fees. Let the guys at HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com bring new customers to your store. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com.
#1 international best-selling author, Matthew David Hurtado's pain was simple. Lyme disease bankrupted him in 2009, watching bankers take everything from his family. After building a 7-figure business from his couch, God called him to ministry to teach prosperity based on pain he could not tolerate in others' lives. IRS, creditors, car loans, debt. It's the Babylonian system, and you have to escape it before it's too late. Haven't you ever wanted to wake up from this nightmare? Matthew David's free quick study guide shows you what to do today to build lasting wealth in any economy. His discovery he made? It's all consciousness. Get Matthew's 7-figure quick study guide for clarity, certainty, and a proven strategy to build wealth once and for all. Visit escaperightnow.com. Do it now. It's free. escaperightnow.com for a prosperous future ahead with peace of mind. escaperightnow.com.
Do you know the difference between erudite and pedantic? If you do, you're probably pedantic. But seriously, a surprising number of erudite people mispronounce erudite, which has 3 syllables, not 4. Say erudite, not erudite. Because you are judged by how you speak, you want to avoid common misstatements, especially if you're a job seeker. For instance, do you know the difference between imply and infer? Only a speaker can imply. Only a listener can infer. And when you say you'll be out of pocket, do you mean out of touch? Out of pocket means you're on your own dime, not yet reimbursed. And if anyone ever asks, why do you always answer a question with a question? You should reply, do I do that? Just kidding. From survivalspeech.com, I'm Holland Cook.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. You can call us toll-free. That's 855-450-3733, or hit us up on Discord. Check that out at discord.lrn.fm. And we've been talking about this idea that Congress, specifically the House of Representatives, is going to invoke powers that challenge Trump on the war in Yemen. And this has been a bloody stalemate basically for years. The Saudis have been fighting the Yemenis, and because Yemen was backed by Iran, that made Yemen the enemy of, Saudi Arabia, which then makes it by extension the enemy of the United States. So the Saudis have been actively involved in this war, and we've been sort of contributing from the sidelines. That's been the U.S. role in this. When we say we, I mean our politicians, because I had nothing to do with this one.
What is the love affair between American politicians and certain Middle Eastern theocracies? Is it all just Christian Zionism, do you think? Are they trying to bring about the end of the world?
I think it's about power and money. That's always been my position on U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East, that he who controls the oil, sort of like Dune. Dune, I was just going to say. There's spice in them that are
the spice
bars.
Must flow. He who controls the pumpkin spice controls the white girls.
Oh, that's nice. I got to remember that for next October.
You haven't seen that?
No. But,
one of my favorite early memes.
I love that. The conflict has been a bloody stalemate for years. It's talking about the conflict in Yemen. Thousands have been killed in Saudi airstrikes on civilian infrastructure, and millions are on the brink of starvation. The war has devastated the economy of Yemen, the Arab world's poorest country. The vast majority of its population cannot afford food to eat. Two lawmakers who have led the charge for the War Powers Resolution, Senator Chris Murphy, Democrat of Connecticut, and Bernie Sanders, independent from Vermont, have displayed photos of emaciated Yemeni children when they have given speeches on the Senate floor. Quote, "This is a moral stain on this nation every day that we continue to take part in this war," unquote, Murphy said after Thursday's vote. Utah Senator Mike Lee, a Republican who championed the measure, said, quote, "It's long past time that we end U.S. involvement in this unauthorized, unjustified, and immoral war that has caused immense human suffering," unquote.
Now, does it mention here, and that's nice to hear, but does it mention what this vote was as far as the numbers? Like, how did they vote? Because it sounds, you've got, a Democrat, or at least Sanders, and then Mike Lee. He's a Republican, right?
Correct.
So this is kind of like a bipartisan thing, it sounds like.
Yeah, and in this case, we're going to have to, I'm skimming ahead to try to answer your question.
I just didn't know if it had indicated that at all.
Yeah. The U.S. involvement has been training Saudi soldiers and selling the kingdom arms for decades. Direct support of the Saudi coalition began in 2015. during the Obama administration with intelligence sharing, logistical support, and in-flight refueling. The Pentagon ordered an end to in-flight refueling last November. So what happens then? Saudi aircraft's flying along and suddenly it can't get any more gas and falls out of the sky? No.
They can buy their own fuel tanker or something like
exactly. And with that order for that will go to Boeing, because
or maybe they could just stop bombing them.
That'd be nice.
That's a little too radical, Rich. We're talking about the U.S. government here.
It's a strange world when not blowing people up is considered a radical solution.
Isn't it?
Not blowing up the poorest people in the world, or excuse me, in the Middle East. That's what Yemen is. It is desolate. Support for the coalition carried into the Trump administration, which has made Saudi Arabia a central ally in efforts to disengage from the Middle East and take a hard line on Iran. On his first international trip as president, Trump visited Riyadh, that's in Saudi Arabia, where he emphasized business ties between the two countries. Home to key American military bases, Saudi Arabia also remains one of the top buyers of American arms, and Trump has made it a priority to loosen weapons export controls.
I mean, this is just classic U.S. Support of one dictator versus another one, or one, government versus another one. Why can't I? They're talking about the business ties between Saudi Arabia and the United States. Why can't I have business ties with somebody in Iran? Why shouldn't I be able to sell a product or buy a product from somebody in Iran?
Oh, anything. Yeah, a hat.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like to open we'll sell New York Yankees hats to Iranians. I think that's probably a violation of some egregious sanction that we have, not against the government. We have these sanctions against the people.
Right.
And they're the
they
ones
pay the
that
price.
pay. Yeah.
The government in Iran is sitting pretty, just like every government everywhere, with the exception of maybe Venezuela, who might be getting a little hungry, but maybe.
Right. Maybe.
Yeah, I think the purpose of sanctions is basically to say to the big companies, you might as well not oppose war on the basis that it's going to break your trade connections, because we're just going to break your trade connections anyway.
Right. And why should we support just one side of a conflict? We should support both sides.
And
yes,
the thing
that's
is, what I think we should do when there's a conflict anywhere in the world is sell both sides weapons and ammunition.
And hope they get it over with
until they get tired of it. And either one side will run out of people or both sides will run out of fight. And either way, that conflict will at least be over.
And this is what has happened throughout history. Now, we have some anomalies like the 100 Years' War, but if you look at how much of that was actually active, not much of it was. But this idea was that, war cannot be afforded by nations. And
when was the 100 Years' War?
I want to say the 1700s maybe.
Okay.
Don't expect me to back up things I say on this show with facts.
1337 through 1453.
Absolutely late.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right, but if you look at even things like that wasn't constant combat. That wasn't sorties going up every day.
Right. The 30 Years' War was denser, I think. That was about 150 years later.
But the point being, the people would not support a ruler who was doing nothing but using them as cannon fodder for decade upon decade. That couldn't happen. And kings realized that. States realized that we did not have an infinite supply of people to fight these things. They also knew that it was going to take a lot of gold to fight a war. People need to be paid, and everything else going on in your country still has to continue. That all changed when we went on the Federal Reserve System, when we went to central banking, and suddenly coming up with the money, and it's like LBJ said, you can have your guns and you can have your butter. And that's when things really changed. Now we're in this world where you can have a World War II that goes on for 7 years. I mean, that was almost unheard of. World War I barely lasted 4 years between various combatants, and most combatants were in and out in like a year or two. So, this is a new thing. And now, again, 18 years, children that have grown up never knowing a world that did not involve the U.S. engaged in combat in Afghanistan. Never in their lives. It's insane.
And they've also had the airport restrictions ever since they were born as well.
They've lived their whole lives with the Patriot Act.
The thing is, we've been at war all of both of our lives as well.
Yes.
And that's the thing. They haven't always admitted it. But there have always been U.S. soldiers running around somewhere in the world whacking somebody for reasons that nobody really knows. And we're just supposed to accept that that's okay.
Yeah. And I grew up in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, and you're right, Rich, there was not one period that did not involve U.S. Combat somewhere in the world.
All through the Cold War.
And
then after the Cold War, it was to stabilize the Soviet bloc. Then after they had to stabilize the Soviet bloc. Then they had to stabilize the Middle East again.
Wow.
It's always something.
You're forgetting the big one, Rich, and by that I mean Grenada. 855, 450 free. What would it be like to have a world without war? I think that's an idea worth exploring, and I think that's something we need to educate kids on. This is not a normal situation. When we get back, maybe we will talk a little bit about the powers involved and how our troops get sent all over the world to do all sorts of things. This is Free Talk Live.
She seems happier. Her fur is so much shinier, silkier, softer. She has really mellowed a lot.
Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog for life.
The shedding is stopped. The itching is stopped.
Since 2001, we've helped more than 250,000 dogs get over their nutritional deficiency miseries.
And saved our customers bazillions in vet bills.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids, flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food. Dynovite is nutrition.
Dynovite for life.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dynovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,287. Silver at $14.94, and Bitcoin is trading around $4,869. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at InnoScale.net. In the news, 3 more women have come forward to the Washington Post to share their stories about their own encounters with former Vice President Joe Biden, bringing the total number to 7. The Mind Unleashed reports the women came forward mere hours after Biden published a video where he vowed to be more respectful toward women after a controversy over his history of inappropriate physical contact with women exploded onto the front pages.
Social norms have begun to change, they've shifted, and the boundaries of protecting personal space have been reset. And I get it. I get it. I hear what they're saying. I understand it. And I'll be much more mindful. That's my responsibility.
All 3 women told the newspaper that Biden's unwillingness to apologize for his behavior in his grand mea culpa video offended them, and said it has become clear that Biden was struggling to understand exactly why his actions were inappropriate. This isn't about sexual assault, one woman said. It's about power dynamics between men and women. Utterly shocking body camera footage was released Thursday, showing what led to one officer's arrest and felony assault charges, and the suspension without pay of 2 others. What started over an alleged noise complaint quickly turned into a gang-style beatdown of several innocent men. The Free Thought Project reports that police, March 16th, were responding to a call over a loud party when the incident began. For several moments, officers held down a man as one of them kicked him repeatedly. At one point, another cop stepped in and put an end to the beating. Had he not, someone may have been beaten to death. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Bray Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Bray Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybraybotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat, online at snls.news and libertybeat.news. I'm Mick Murrow. Your news now continues. The U.S. House of Representatives has voted in favor of ending U.S. involvement in the war in Yemen, but the bill is expected to be vetoed by President Donald Trump as the White House cites serious constitutional concerns. The Free Thought Project reports the House voted 247 to 175 in favor of the resolution to direct Trump to end U.S. military involvement in the war within 30 days and to end support for the Saudi-led coalition that it has been backing. Campaigners have organized rallies nationwide in order to give voice to the widespread public demand the report submitted to the U.S. Department of Justice by Special Counsel Robert Mueller be disclosed to members of Congress and the public with as little redaction as possible, without further delay. Spearheaded by a coalition of progressive groups, including Move On, Public Citizen, People for the American Way, and Indivisible, more than 300 rapid response events across the country have been scheduled to make it clear that people want the report made available to lawmakers and the public. In addition to the dispersed rallies nationwide, people in Washington, D.C. plan to demonstrate outside the White House Thursday afternoon to demand Attorney General William Barr release the full report to the U.S. House Judiciary Committee and as much information as possible to the public. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting with the latest edition of the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
The Onion looks back at this week in history. On July 17, 1980, Ronald Reagan accepted the nomination for president at the Republican National Convention in Detroit and delivered a speech in which he boldly promised that during his presidency, someone would body slam Andre the Giant. While admitting that the road would be long and hard and that it might take as long as 7 years and 2 WrestleManias to get there, the former California governor vowed that under his administration, somebody, perhaps Ricky the Dragon Steamboat or a hulked-up Hulk Hogan, would grab hold of the 500-pound behemoth and send his massive body smashing to the mat. The Republican nominee also went on to promise that by the end of his first term, Joni would marry Chachi, Hair metal would achieve mainstream airplay, and Shelley Long would successfully make the leap from television to film.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number. We'd love to talk to you. And in studio tonight, we have myself, Chris.
I'm Ian.
Rich Paul.
We got breaking news, too.
We do have breaking news.
When news breaks, we fix it.
Do we? This is not a good story. And to me, I'm rather disappointed to hear this. But, Ian, you have a story involving Julian Assange, the head of Wikileaks.
We're not usually so good at breaking news here, but because usually we're just talking and taking calls about whatever. But I just noticed in the Twitch chat, Wikileaks mentions that he's going to be removed from the Ecuadorian embassy soon. Went and took a look, and sure enough, there is a tweet from Wikileaks. Breaking, a high-level source within the Ecuadorian state has told at Wikileaks that Julian Assange will be expelled within, quote, hours to days, unquote, using the INA papers, we'll get into that, offshore scandal as a pretext, and that it already has an agreement with the UK for his arrest.
So Julian Assange has been basically hiding out in the embassy in London, the Ecuadorian embassy,
for
years, and this goes back to some charges that were brought against him from
was it Sweden?
Yeah. Involving some dealings that involved a young woman.
And those have all been discredited now, right?
Yeah, those charges have been dropped as well.
Yes, but Assange has remained there because he was fearful, and I think rightfully so, that WikiLeaks and Julian Assange had irritated a whole lot of governments throughout the world. And if he set foot outside of that embassy, the odds were really good that somebody was going to try to pick him up and
there was a claim,
take him back to their country for charges.
At one point, there was a claim that there was 24-hour surveillance by the UK police. I'm not sure which branch, but that they were 24 hours outside of the Ecuadorian embassy watching for Assange.
Yeah.
And that was it was a controversy in the UK because, some people are like, why are taxpayers having to pay 24/7 for this monitoring? This is crazy.
Right.
And we don't follow the news that closely. I presume that's still going on.
I would too, and Britain has its own brand of internal espionage. You have, I'm not sure exactly what the roles of all these are, but GCHQ in times past has been used by the United States to spy on its own citizens. You've got MI5, which has either a foreign intelligence or a counterintelligence. They got their own players around the U.S. I mean, we know who they are. It's the NSA, it's the CIA, it's the FBI.
Right.
But you've got that whole thing going on over there, too.
And, there's also a whole murky morass of military and quasi-military organizations out there. There are, I'm sure there are black ops going on out there that only a few people know about, and none of those people have any authority to have to be doing what they're doing.
Right.
But
And
Skunkworks Black Ops,
sure,
basically.
Absolutely. The stuff that doesn't make it into public budgets.
When you're ready for it, I think you may have a call on the line, but I do have the release from WikiLeaks, so we can get to that.
Actually, what does that tell you?
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that just real quick before I know.
Well, it's not quick.
Okay. Then we're going to go right to the phones and talk to Sarah from Albuquerque. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, ever since we got our Democratic mayor.
When you say we, you're referring to the people in Albuquerque?
Yes, we got a Democratic mayor.
How's it feel to be a winner?
Well, the thing about it is that, as I have predicted, all of our crime rate has been going down. All of our robberies and car theft.
That's what all those criminals were waiting for, was a Democratic mayor.
Finally, why didn't you think of that before?
Well, the thing is, I don't know. I do not know why. But Mayor Chavez was a Democratic mayor, and then he kept our crime rate low. And then they all voted in.
And what did he do exactly? Did he put on a bandana and some spandex and like go out into the streets, karate chop the criminals? Like, how did the mayor actually keep the crime rate low or lower it?
Maybe they just recognized him as a superior criminal. I mean, maybe they just bowed out of respect and said, "This guy,
we can't even begin to compete with this."
Hundreds, with just one wave of roid raging jackbooted thugs. So,
well done. Well, the thing is, the new thing that I have heard was I never heard of baked packages and baked cars until he became mayor.
Baked package? Oh, fake.
Fake.
You mean like a bait car?
Do you think these were his ideas?
Yeah, right. I've never heard of it the 17 years I lived.
Just because you've never heard of it doesn't mean they were his ideas. There's a zillion channels on YouTube where, I don't know if it's a zillion, but there are a bunch of channels on YouTube with what they call bait bike videos, and they are so entertaining. Now, whether they're real or not is another question, but they are entertaining nonetheless.
So what magic did this Democrat mayor, what power has he brought that evidently saved Albuquerque from the previous Democrat mayor?
No, he was a Republican. He was a Republican mayor.
Okay.
And the only reason he won is because the two Democrats just split up the vote. So he wound up getting the 31% or something, 41%. That's how he slipped in there the first time.
The spoiler didn't spoil the right way.
Well, the thing about is, this mayor, he gave out like 400 speeding tickets, like the month of January, like of this month.
He did that?
A couple of months ago, like.
Wow.
So yeah,
that's a lot of people who are going to have a hard time eating this month.
Right.
She doesn't care about that. She's got government money.
Or making it to their jobs, not getting fired for it. Yeah.
Well, you remember who called in? You know what, Dave and me, we're on disability.
Sarah, you don't care about the victims of speeding tickets, do you? You don't care about their lives. You don't care about how difficult it is. They're just trying to get to work on time.
Right.
And you want them to have to pay hundreds of dollars to the court system.
Well, they're always trying to speed and run me over.
You want to teach them a lesson, don't you?
What's so innocent about? What is so innocent about that?
Would you support? Would you support bringing back a good paddling? I mean, instead of
that's an idea.
We could get Sarah to be a dominatrix. We could set her up with a riding crop and let her whip business executives.
You make some good money at that.
I'm just wondering how we're going to pull Joe Biden into this.
Call her Mr. Spanks-a-Lot.
You know what I said is the speeding tickets, it helps reduce crime. That's what he found out.
Does it? Sarah, thank you for the call. I'm not sure how issuing speeding tickets lowers crime.
No, that technically would increase. If you go by the definition of crime as a violation of any government statute or ordinance, then that would actually show an increased level of crime, right? Like if you're handing out more speeding tickets, that means there's more speeders. It's more dangerous.
We need more money to fight these speeders.
That's the thinking. That's how it works.
Exactly.
There you go.
So back to this Assange story.
Aren't you glad we took that call?
I'm not in the least.
Really?
But no,
oh my God, I thought that was great. I'm marking it for a promo.
Are you? Good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks,
but I'm
Sarah.
really dying to find out what's going on in London because this troubles me.
Yeah, I understand. And it's not exactly something that is going to shake out immediately, but it says hours to days but before he will possibly be turned over. Julian Assange turned over to the UK government. This is according to an alleged source inside of the Ecuadorian government. And so here's the detail from the WikiLeaks website, wikileaks.org, actually apparently a subdomain, defend.wikileaks.org. On March 26th, WikiLeaks' Twitter account announced that President Moreno in Ecuador is being investigated by their Congress for corruption sparked by the INA papers leak. And we can tell you what that is because I hadn't heard about it.
Right.
That's coming up.
855 450 free. What do you think? Is Assange being turned loose just so some other government can scoop him up? Is this just a way of getting him off the back of the Ecuadorian president? 855 450 free. This is Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISS Paris.com.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, capitalists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
Free Talk Live.
You can tell by the way they're dressed, by their demeanor, that these are illegal. Okay. Do you understand that they bring in leprosy and
God, here's the leprosy. Show me the news story about leprosy and not some crackpot website.
Do you understand this is our country and this is about our children?
Wait, stop the jingoistic crap. You're picking and choosing. You're saying that a bunch of murdering, raping lepers are coming across the border.
Oh, yes, they are.
No, that's nuts, Trish. If that was the case, then in fact we would all know about it. I mean, it sounds like the Night of the Living Dead down there at the border, and they're just coming across looking for the brains.
You think CNN and Fox News is going to tell you this? You got another thing coming.
Why wouldn't they? It'd be great for ratings.
By design, it's meant to bring this country.
Oh, now there's a conspiracy behind it, right? You're going to tell me the NWO's behind all this?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's our toll-free number. You can also hit us up on Discord. You can find out more at discord.lrn.fm. Before you do that, you want to load up the Discord client on your smartphone, on your PC, on your Mac, and make sure you've got a good
How
internet
many copies
connection.
of this thing do they need to see?
I've got it on
Hundreds.
my phone and my laptop.
Was that an or, not an and? They don't need to load it up on all these different things to make it work.
Good point, Rich. Yes, you can just choose your favorite device, load up the Discord software, and you can connect to us, and you will sound like you are right in the studio with us. And we like to take Discord calls, and we're going to have one coming up here shortly. Right now, we've been talking about Julian Assange, who's been basically in... What is the word I'm looking for? Sort of in self-imposed exile.
In Dutch, you might say.
In Dutch, within the Ecuadorian embassy in London since 2010. That's 9 years. He's been living in basically something that's the size of an apartment.
Well, plus, as is pointed out in an editorial piece that's actually in Spanish, I had to translate it, Fidel Navarrez Internacional, writing at rutacritica.org, he describes it as, for more than half a year, Assange has not been WikiLeaks editor and has been isolated for 1 year under a regime quasi-prison by the government of Ecuador. Because remember, he's not just in the Ecuadorian embassy on a cot. In recent months, they say here about a year, Ecuador has put him under much more stringent conditions. I believe his access to the internet is either limited or maybe not at all. I'm not sure exactly what that status was, but he was very, very limited for the last year.
Wow.
Why do you think Ecuador is holding on to him in the first place? Do you have any idea what they see to gain?
Well, they were, I don't know, it's a good question. It was like an asylum kind of thing, wasn't it? So he went there for protection. And then I think what happened was the Ecuadorian president switched out to this Moreno character that we're going to get into here in a moment. And this Moreno guy is not as friendly towards Assange, and that's one of the reasons why the restrictions were put upon him. But also, apparently, this INA Papers controversy that we're going to tell you about is...
Oh, I'll wonder if the South Americans blame Assange for Trump.
Well... I don't know what Moreno's political viewpoint is. He may be friendly to Trump. Honestly, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But in this case,
I doubt it. I haven't heard him denounced for it.
Who, Moreno or Trump?
Moreno. I've heard Trump denounced plenty. It's just, you'd think if Moreno was friendly to Trump, Moreno would have been denounced for being friendly to Trump by now.
Perhaps, but we don't pay attention to Ecuadorian news, right? Like, we don't hear anything out of what... We didn't know about the INA Papers, so let me tell you what those are. According to the WikiLeaks piece, the INA Papers are a set of documents published in February of 2019, so, 2 months ago. Allegedly uncovering the operations of INA Investment Corporation, an offshore tax haven created by the brother of Ecuadorian President Lenin Moreno. The trove of emails, phone communications, and expense receipts are said to link the president and his family to a series of corrupt and criminal dealings, including money laundering and offshore accounts. The leak has sparked a congressional investigation into President Moreno for corruption. Moreno can't be summoned for a criminal probe, though, while he remains president. He's currently being investigated and risks impeachment. So this is what the INA Papers are. It was last week, on March 26th, WikiLeaks' Twitter account announced that Moreno is being investigated by Ecuador's Congress for corruption, sparked by the INA Papers leak. So WikiLeaks did not leak the papers. They are saying they didn't leak the papers, and we can get into that.
Right.
But they announced the fact that this president is being in Ecuador is being investigated, and he's mad about that, apparently. The same tweet referenced Moreno's attempt to surrender Assange in exchange for U.S. debt relief, a fact that had been reported by the New York Times. So this Moreno is looking at Julian Assange as a chess piece in the foreign entanglements of the United States. Basically, oh, well, how about I give you, Trump, how about I give you Julian Assange, and you give us some debt relief, huh? How's that sound? That's a good deal.
Just make that go away.
The funny thing is, I have no idea what Trump would do with him if he had him.
Well, that's a good question. What Trump would do would be different than what the Department of Justice might do, because Trump doesn't know, a fraction of the things that they're up to.
Right.
And so the Department of Justice in, I think it was late 2018, there was news that came out about...
My assumption, and I just let me cut you off for 1 sec. My assumption is that his fingerprints will be all over whatever they do, because Assange is such an important part of the political narrative of how he became president. He has to, oddly enough, he has to give it his total attention to make sure he doesn't get accused of paying too much attention to it.
Trump or Assange?
Trump.
Okay. So in the case,
Assange has to give it his total attention because it's the only life he has.
So there was news that came out in late 2018 about what is likely a secret indictment against Assange. Did you guys hear about that?
I did not.
When it happened. So what happened was there was a criminal case in federal court completely unrelated to Assange. And somebody in the district attorney or the U.S. attorney's office filed a motion to seal a document in this case. In that motion to seal, it actually had Assange's name in the motion. And what they believe about this motion was it was like they were editing the same motion for Assange.
Right.
They copied and pasted into this other guy's motion. Geez. They forgot to change all the names. And so it was basically a chunk of it was the motion to seal a document in Assange's case, the case that has yet to be revealed against Julian Assange within the United States so-called justice system. Right. So that was very interesting.
How do sealed documents contribute to a speedy and public trial?
Well, he hasn't been charged yet at this
right.
Right,
this
but it
point.
sounds like this actually got entered as a pleading into some unrelated case.
Right. So what happened was it was a mistake on the part of the U.S.
Oh, I see.
attorney.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
They copied and
pasted,
and they some lazy bureaucrat forgot to change the name from Assange to Mr. Smith or whoever the other guy was.
Right.
And then the media who was looking at Mr. Smith's case saw that because they're following the case, whatever it was. They saw that and like, oh my God, this is for Julian Assange. Breaking news.
Yeah.
There's likely a secret case or indictment against Assange. So now you got Moreno down in Ecuador trying to exchange Assange for U.S. debt relief. The following day, Foreign Minister Jose Valencia said that WikiLeaks.
I'm sorry. Is that actually the cause that he's saying, or is that our conjecture?
There's a New York Times report that they're linking here on WikiLeaks.
Okay.
About Moreno's attempt to surrender Assange. Let's see here.
Yeah.
Manafort discussed deal with Ecuador to hand over Assange to U.S.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. We'll continue this discussion and fascinating story.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And your calls, 855-450-FREE.
Assange is expected to be handed over to the UK government within hours to days, according to WikiLeaks.
Wow. We'll be following that closely. This is Free Talk Live.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
Would you like to get back that full head of hair from years past? Now, there is Reveal. Beverly Hills celebrity dermatologist Dr. Nathan Newman took nearly a decade to develop Reveal from natural botanicals to return to a full-body head of hair. Reveal for men and women with a 30-day money-back guarantee at GCNlife.com or toll-free 844-443-6637. 844-443-6637. Reveal at GCNlife.com.
Would you like to hang out with Penn Jillette? He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. Freedom freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's our toll-free number. And we'd love for you to use it. We'd love to talk to you. Right now, we've been talking about Julian Assange, who looks like he may be on his way out of the Ecuadorian embassy in
voluntarily.
London. Not voluntarily, unfortunately. And this all may come down to a petty president in Ecuador who is upset that his name is being brought up in conjunction with a very messy deal called the INA Papers. It's a corruption investigation going on in Ecuador. But before we get back into that, I want to tell you about ForkFest 2019.
Coming up fast.
I know. Did you miss ForkFest 2018, Ian?
Most people did. I did not.
Most people did. You did not. You were there. Start planning now to attend ForkFest 2019. Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians next summer from July.
That's this summer. Sorry, it's old copy.
This is. Well, that's all right.
Cross that out.
In just a couple months, from June 13th to June 18th for ForkFest 2019 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. We love it there. ForkFest is a fork of other camping parties in the woods, and you're invited to come and create whatever experience you'd like others to have. ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge, so it's up to you to create what happens, or you can simply relax and go camping with other liberty lovers. For more information and to connect with other ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or ForkFest forum, visit forkfest.party. That's forkfest.party. I really hope I can make it up there this year. It's with work. It's always a challenge to try to get up there, but that's one I really should make it to.
Well, Sunday, you normally don't Well, you've closed the store for. Well, no, you're going to reopen on Tuesdays, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Well,
anyway, we'll see.
There's some internal debate on that.
There is.
Somebody really likes to have Tuesdays.
If you like having those days off and you want to take that day off, then that would be the end of Forkfest. So Sunday and Monday night are the last 2 nights of Forkfest.
We're implying here that the store could not survive without me for an entire day without.
It probably could, but wouldn't you want to bring Colleen up too?
Well, I'd love to, unless Colleen would not have as much fun fork-festing as I might have.
Oh, man, who wouldn't be? You know, what person who enjoys the beauty of nature and the company of libertarians would not enjoy
Colleen
Forkfest?
No
She's
offense.
not a nature girl, huh?
No, we've stayed. No, we've gone camping. We've stayed in some hotels that were not 4-star. They might have been 3-star.
Yeah,
that's camping.
To Colleen.
Yeah, to Colleen. So she's not much for that. But anyway,
have you guys tried getting a room up there?
It's always a challenge. Well, the
motel there I wouldn't call even 3-star in that case. I mean, Rogers is great, and it's not a terrible motel, but it's not the Ritz-Carlton.
1 year,
I don't expect a motel to be a Ritz-Carlton.
Well, it sounds like Colleen might,
especially
Colleen
since
might.
The Ritz-Carlton is a hotel. So
yeah.
If a motel was the Ritz-Carlton, I would stop calling it a motel.
Yeah.
What defines? What is the difference between a hotel and a motel?
The motel was designed to support the traveler by car.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where typically
short for motor lodge.
I understand what it's short for, but
But the idea
normally the motels are smaller than hotels. You drive right into the parking lot, but hotels have parking lots too. Does it have to do with how many stories they have?
I don't know if
what's
that's
one of the
it.
differences?
I think you could. I mean, really, if it supports transportation by car close to your room, you can back in and unload your stuff. That's what I think.
Generally,
about
I mean, a big difference, at least as a rule of thumb, is most motels that I've stayed at have had doors that open to the outside of the building.
Right. Whereas hotels have
hotels usually
hallways.
open to the inside.
Yep. Good point.
But
I think that's
there's some
that's a key
crossover.
difference.
That's a blurry line.
I don't know. I would say that's a pretty key difference.
It could be, but sometimes you'll see that on the bottom floor of a hotel as well, especially in a beach town.
This is true, but we're going to go to Discord where we've got Bad Slave. Bad Slave, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, you guys.
Hi there.
How you doing?
Hey, I really would love to fantasize about, the rescue of Assange.
Okay.
That cleaned itself up on its own.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We were hovering over the dump button here with bated breath.
Oh, come on.
And then, you came right back into the world of the living. Thank you.
Years ago. Listen, I think that, there are enough people out there, particularly of the hacker.
I think there's more than enough people out there.
that are support Assange.
So what is your vision? What is your fantasy?
My vision is something like, as a last-ditch rescue effort coming from President Carter.
What? Carter's not good at rescue missions.
Yeah, Carter's not the man for this job. He tried to rescue somebody once, and he lost 18 people.
He could be a better delegator of that than he was.
He's 94 years old.
But it would be his idea. It would.
Now, if you wanted him to,
a gift to the American people, because I think that ultimately that's what would be happening.
What are you suggesting here? Are you saying Jimmy Carter would grab a machete and a machine gun and
No.
crash his helicopter in the middle of the desert?
The best stealth helicopter and come in, get him. Take him
a stealth helicopter?
and
I don't think those exist.
I mean, if we're going to do this in fantasy, should we hire Ronnie Reagan for this job?
No, take him to Moscow or wherever.
In a helicopter.
Yeah, sure. Well,
wait, this is Carter we're taking to Moscow?
I'm not an expert on military
they
vehicles.
might need one fuel stop, but I bet you we could find a fuel stop.
Oh my! But your basic idea is that somehow some patriot actually sees that in this whole thing, Assange is truly the patriot. He's the one who should be rescued.
Thank you.
Somehow I doubt that would be Jimmy Carter that would figure that out.
Well, no, I know,
Yeah.
but it's just a kind of a whack job thought. But
Yes.
Okay, speaking of whack job thoughts.
I'm putting it out there into the world that maybe somebody will do something and keep Assange, from being.
Well, whoever it is better get down there right now. Whoever it is, because he could be released. He could be released within hours, is what WikiLeaks said.
I'll tell you something that's bizarre about Jimmy Carter. Have you ever looked at a side-by-side picture of Jimmy Carter and Kennedy,
Charles?
JFK?
I've not.
Oh my God, they're like the spitting image of each other.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if
it's
I'm
really look it up on the web. I'm not an aesthetic guy. I'm not an artist, so look it up on the web and you make your own determination.
We'll get to that, Rich, but Bad Slave, thank you for the call. I don't know if I'm seeing that, but hey, who
If you're
knows?
seeing a rescue from Jimmy Carter or even anyone else.
Well, to Rich's point, I'm not sure if I'm imagining maybe it's just age, but I'm not seeing a spitting image of JFK and Jimmy Carter.
I'll try and find you the images that made me say that.
They must be two very specific images.
It was
that would
two
make me
images that I
think.
saw together, and you could definitely see an age progression between the pictures, because one was taken in the early
and JFK quit aging.
Well, he did. It's true.
We're gonna stay on the phones where we've got Dave from New Hampshire. Dave, you're on Free Talk Live. Oh, Dave, I did that
just enough time
right
to tease us.
David, tease us. Dave,
Yes? Know how.
Dave, you tease.
Dave,
Stand
I'm gonna
Not
put you
enough
back
time.
on hold. Not enough time, but we're gonna get to you in just a moment. And what do you think? JFK and Jimmy Carter, are they spitting images of each other? I don't see it, but maybe you do. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
We all have heard about the benefits of fish oils, but what about the presence of heavy metals, PCBs, dioxins, furans, and other contaminants found in fatty tissues of fish? GCNteam.com recognizes this risk and offers IFOS certified tested omega-3 fatty acids. EPA, DHA insist on IFOS omega-3 fatty acid certification. Get the best at GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203.
Bacon lovers, we ship free. Try our amazing bacon. No refrigeration required. Proprietary value-added packaging provides 10 years shelf life and protects the leanest, thickest, center-cut, fully cooked bacon in America today. Ready to eat right from the pouch or warm and serve. Savory and delicious. Wholesale price for your everyday use. Order today at readytoeatbacon.com. readytoeatbacon.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict, or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Live tonight like we're live every night, 365 days a year. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number, and we want to give. I like to do shout-outs. You know, that's like a radio thing. Shouldn't we be doing shout-outs all the time? A special shout-out to you, Rich. There we go.
No, please, no shout-outs all the time. That
Come on, man. I just want to make this show needs to be more morning zoo. What do you think? No?
I'd like to reach out to all the brothers in the band, each and every one of whom is a bad mother in his own right.
Well, in this case,
waking up in the morning with Free Talk Live.
Oh, there you go. You got the voice down, too. We're going to give a shout-out to Henry K., who is a silver amplifier. What is an amplifier, and why is he silver?
Thanks, Henry.
Yeah, thank you very much. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. It's a program that we have here at Free Talk Live that allows our listeners to help promote the show, to get us on more radio stations and spread the ideas of liberty to more people. And that's important to us, and a lot of our listeners find it important enough to part with a couple bucks every month, and that is seriously appreciated. It only takes $5 to join the AMP program. Henry K., in this case, he is a silver amplifier, which means that he is donating $10 a month, and that is super, and it's really important. That helps us reach out to radio program managers and get our show on the air in more places. We're almost at 200, which is a huge number.
Yeah, we've lost a few and gained a few and lost a few, and it's slowly getting up there.
We actually give you
like my Weight Watchers history.
Yeah.
We actually give you the real numbers, too. We're not one of those. We're at 2,400 affiliates.
Not even possible.
Because
there aren't that many talk stations.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, I get your point.
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of shows will talk about, once they've been added, we're counting them whether they come or go or leave.
They never
Could a station that wasn't a talk station get our show, though?
In theory, but why would they?
Well, I mean, maybe they're punk. Maybe
there actually was a guy.
We
may actually be on one of them. There actually is a radio station owner in Washington State who airs Free Talk Live on his talk station, who wanted to experiment with putting us on. I think it was actually like an alt rock or something, some kind of a rocker. In the evenings, and honestly, I haven't heard back from him on how that was going. But
a music station. Why would anybody do that? Oh yeah, we're doing that.
I think that he might have been doing that on like a weekend, but I honestly don't recall.
Interesting. Hey, we're going to go back to the phones where we had Dave from New Hampshire. He called in right before.
Dave's not here.
Dave, you there?
Yes.
All right. Hey, what do you got for us?
Well, you guys know Carla Garrick.
Mm-hmm.
We
The
do.
Free Stater in New
She's the former president of the Free State Project.
And she's in New Hampshire, and she ran for Senate recently. She's a pro-independent person. She runs the Foundation for New Hampshire Independence.
That's right. Yeah, that's what she moved over to after, I guess, leaving the Free State Project's presidency, is to a pro-secession organization, which I'm a big fan of. I love the Foundation for New Hampshire Independence. I hope they do more. Is there like some breaking news about the foundation, or what's going on?
No, just about her. She's continuing to become one of my favorite Free Staters because she's always doing something.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what she did this week was or maybe it was last week, a litter pickup event in a relatively, well, I don't know if it's a bad neighborhood, but in Manchester.
Yeah. That's good. Anything that gets the name out there, gets the ideas out there, that's a win. And I applaud Carla for keeping it up. She unsuccessfully ran for state senate.
She's tried twice.
Well,
She's
I'll
up against
tell you
an
what,
incumbent.
Dave, next time you see Carla, tell her, if at first you don't succeed, try again.
Yeah.
Very good.
One of the things I liked about her campaign was she didn't shy away from being a secessionist,
Right.
even though there was some pressure against her to do just that. And she embraced it fully and made it, I think, one of her, if not one of her main issues. She certainly didn't hide from it.
Absolutely. Dave, thanks for the call. It's tough to take on,
it helps
kind of since the
politically.
Civil War. Since the Civil War, secession's gotten a bad rap.
Right.
But it's not a bad idea. Just this idea that smaller entities, can do better than big entities. That we could dare stand up against the ideas of central planning. It seems sort of foreign, but we've got big groups, big moneyed groups in California embracing the idea. We've got another group out of New York State, which is advocating a sort of break the state up into three different.
There's a New York breakup,
and I support all of those. Just to make New York City a city-state is
okay. I heard generally that New Yorkers hate New York City and would love to see it jettisoned into the ocean, but I hadn't heard there was an
vice
actual
versa. The city hates the state.
Yeah, what they are talking about, this latest one, is to break up the state into four autonomous political groups. So you don't actually leave the union. This is what they're saying, but governance within the state would be between these different, which is basically Manhattan and three other ones.
So this would be another political subdivision that was made up of counties and the state was made up of them?
It's sort of like that. The only thing that would continue would be the amount of representation that New York would have at the federal level. So I'll pull up some more information.
I
we'll
actually
talk about
just
this.
found something on, no, this is old. This is 2009. You're saying this is recent?
No, this is recent. This is within the last. We'll dig up some more information.
Because in 2009 there was a state state senator who apparently put a bill in to ask New Yorkers the question, quote, do you support the division of New York into two separate states?
Yeah,
I would support the separation of New York into two states, but it should be, from my point of view, New York City and New York State. They used to have city-states back in the day where there was no state government. The city government was all there was.
Right. This one, it's...
New York City already has its own foreign policy.
If you go to newamsterdamny.org, you'll see their plan, and it's divide New York State into one state with three completely autonomous regions.
That's not the same idea as three states, though. Right?
No.
What does that even mean? Three autonomous regions within one state? How does that even work?
Maybe we'll talk about that in just a moment. But I want to get to the phone calls where we've got Herbert. He's calling in from Rhode Island, listening on Twitch. Herbert, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hi there, gentlemen. This is Herbert calling from Cohog, Rhode Island.
Well, hello, Herbert. What do you want to share with us tonight?
Hello there, little boy. I want to say since y'all such big anti-statists and whatnot and fans of the popsicles as well, what y'all think about these oppressive nudity laws? I'm sick and tired of seeing people, especially young people, being forced to cover up everywhere.
Well, Ian, would you like to handle that one?
You sound
Hey, don't you make fun of me, you bald bastard.
You sound like a towel.
What do I
You
think?
shut your mouth, all right?
What do I think of nudity laws? Yeah, I presume you mean the laws against nudity, like in strip clubs or on beaches?
Oh, I mean everywhere, Mr. Ian. I mean, for instance, I was in Amsterdam not
It's just
too
so
long
hard to
ago.
even understand you with that voice. I can't even make
really
out
becoming
exactly what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
We got to work on that impression, bro.
We can
was
talk
that Tally he was doing?
Oh, I'm sure it was Mr. Hanky.
Mr. Hanky?
I was assuming.
Oh,
Did you have
okay.
somebody else? I don't know.
That's
Occasionally-
interesting. I didn't think of that as a candidate. I was thinking maybe it was Towley. I did think he sounded like a towel.
Well, I just to answer the question, I think that nudity should be allowed as long as it's on public property, and of course, this is tragedy of the commons.
Right.
So ideally, the libertarian view is to end the idea of end the idea of public property entirely, and have all property be private. In which case, if a prude wants to own some property and have no nudity allowed, then they should be able to do that.
Be my guest.
I want to end the idea that all property should operate under the same rules, because then if you want to live your life a different way, where are you going to go?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I kind of agree with the point that, the issue is the erosion of property rights and the fact that we do have commonly owned things. That's where our disagreements arise. Nobody cares what I do on my property.
Some people do.
Some people might, but they can't
They call themselves
see.
the town.
Yeah, well, they certainly do. But they can't see most of it, and that's why I chose to live where I live.
You're only in danger from people generally when they consider you to be an enemy tribe or when they consider you to be their tribe.
I have no doubt that my town considers me the enemy, which I will wear proudly. 855-450-FREE. We'd love to hear you join us. We will be back.
More on Assange, too, coming up.
Oh, yes. Free Talk Live.
Are you a stock or options trader looking for real trading strategies that you can use immediately? Hi, my name is Scott Bauer, CEO of Prosper Trading Academy, and I'm on a mission to become the #1 options coach in America. I'm a former vice president at Goldman Sachs. I have over 25 years of options trading experience, and right now I'm giving away my most famous options guide with over 20 unique options strategies that I use every day for free. You can't buy this guide anywhere. To claim your free options trading guide, simply call 855-844-9702 now and mention my name, Scott Bauer, and we will rush you the guide. Call 855-844-9702 and someone from my options team will help you get this guide in your inbox as quickly as possible. Call 855-844-9702 now and start learning to trade the right way. Simply call 855-844-9702. Prosper with options.
Stocks and options trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISSparis.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat,
your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,287, silver at $14.94, and Bitcoin is trading around $4,869. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, 3 more women have come forward to the Washington Post to share their stories about their own encounters with former Vice President Joe Biden, bringing the total number to 7. The Mind Unleashed reports the women came forward mere hours after Biden published a video where he vowed to be more respectful toward women after a controversy over his history of inappropriate physical contact with women exploded onto the front pages.
Social norms have begun to change, they've shifted, and the boundaries of protecting personal space have been reset. And I get it. I get it. I hear what they're saying. I understand it. And I'll be much more mindful. That's my responsibility.
All 3 women told the newspaper that Biden's unwillingness to apologize for his behavior in his grand mea culpa video offended them, and said it has become clear that Biden was struggling to understand exactly why his actions were inappropriate. This isn't about sexual assault, one woman said. It's about power dynamics between men and women. Utterly shocking body camera footage was released Thursday, showing what led to one officer's arrest and felony assault charges, and the suspension without pay of 2 others. What started over an alleged noise complaint quickly turned into a gang-style beatdown of several innocent men. The Free Thought Project reports that police, March 16th, were responding to a call over a loud party when the incident began. For several moments, officers held down a man as one of them kicked him repeatedly. At one point, another cop stepped in and put an end to the beating. Had he not, someone may have been beaten to death. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, fighting for your right to consume plant-based medicine and natural remedies. Find out more at mybravebotanicals.com. And right now, Liberty Beat listeners can save 10% by using promo code SNLS at checkout. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat, online at snls.news and libertybeat.news. I'm Mick Murrow. Your news now continues. The U.S. House of Representatives has voted in favor of ending U.S. involvement in the war in Yemen, but the bill is expected to be vetoed by President Donald Trump as the White House cites serious constitutional concerns. The Free Thought Project reports the House voted 247 to 175 in favor of the resolution to direct Trump to end U.S. military involvement in the war within 30 days and to end support for the Saudi-led coalition that it has been backing. Campaigners have organized rallies nationwide in order to give voice to the widespread public demand the report submitted to the U.S. Department of Justice by Special Counsel Robert Mueller be disclosed to members of Congress and the public with as little redaction as possible, without further delay. Spearheaded by a coalition of progressive groups, including Move On, Public Citizen, People for the American Way, and Indivisible, more than 300 rapid response events across the country have been scheduled to make it clear that people want the report made available to lawmakers and the public. In addition to the dispersed rallies nationwide, people in Washington, D.C. plan to demonstrate outside the White House Thursday afternoon to demand Attorney General William Barr release the full report to the U.S. House Judiciary Committee and as much information as possible to the public. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting with the latest edition of the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
A majority of Americans are pointing to Friday's tragedy as a clear call for major reforms in everything, or literally anything at all that might prevent acts of horrifying, senseless violence. According to a recent ONN poll, the nation is united in saying that the key to preventing future tragedies is a drastic change in gun control, mental health care, school security, media coverage, violent entertainment, the fragility of the human condition, and really so many other things we probably haven't even thought of yet. Jesus. The Randolph Center for Public Health and Safety also released a statement saying, quote, "If you look at statistics regarding gun violence in the United States, you'll see the recent shooting is a clear cry for any thing at all to please be different." In Washington, lawmakers have reached a bipartisan agreement that the U.S. desperately needs tighter firearm restrictions or looser firearm restrictions, or honestly, whatever option just makes these things stop. Do that one.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live in hour number 3. Our number is 855-450-FREE if you would like to tell us what's on your mind. We love to hear from you. We really appreciate when you call up and change the subject completely. We bring in stories. We talk about things that we find compelling and interesting. That doesn't mean that you're going to. So if you have something else you would rather talk about, give us a call. Once again, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Or hit us up on Discord. Discord, you can sound like you're right here in the studio with us. To learn more about that, load up the Discord client on your smartphone, on your laptop, and with your high-speed internet connection and a decent microphone, you will sound great. You can find out more at discord.lrn.fm. And just to kind of recap where we've been tonight, we talked a little bit about Congress possibly invoking some of their war powers responsibilities and saying no to Yemen. That would be really interesting. We're also talking about Julian Assange, which is big news. Julian Assange is the leader, or the former leader, I guess, of WikiLeaks, who has been living in the Ecuadorian embassy in London for going on, what did we say?
It's been several years.
Several years.
If not 6 or more.
At this point, he has made the president of Ecuador unhappy, and basically they're saying...
He's blaming Assange, but what made the president of Ecuador unhappy is the fact that he is now embroiled in a scandal called the INA Papers that are tied directly to his brother and I guess also the president himself, Lenin Moreno, which has linked the president and his family to a series of corrupt and criminal dealings, this according to WikiLeaks, including money laundering and offshore accounts. So that has led, of course, WikiLeaks to report on it because, them's the facts.
Yeah.
That's the scandal happening in Ecuador right now. And the idea is now Ecuador's president has apparently in recent, I don't know, maybe months or weeks, I'm not sure when the New York Times reported on this, but went to Ecuador and said, or the president from Ecuador went to the U.S. and said, hey, how about I give you Assange and you give us some U.S. debt relief? There's more coming up on that story.
Absolutely.
Everybody loves a truth teller until he starts telling your truth.
Right.
Absolutely. Hey, we're going to go to the phones where we've got Vernon. Vernon's listening to us on WGOW. Vernon, you're on Free Talk Live.
That's in Chattanooga.
Vernon, you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I can.
What's on your
mind?
mind?
On your mind?
Oh, that he was trying to imitate the old guy, the old geezer on Family Guy.
Yeah, okay. That's what somebody said in our chat room on Twitch as well.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought he was trying to do tally.
You're referring to a previous caller, by the way, for listeners just tuning in. Were you calling about something else?
I called to say that I agree that the states should secede from the Union.
Hell
All
yeah.
of them should. Because it's not what it was intended to be. It was not intended for one central government to run the state.
And there's no
Yeah.
fixing it.
Intended-
It's never going to be whatever
Right,
it was
there's-
intended.
Yeah. We'll be the sons of the Whiskey Rebellion. The Northeast will rise again.
Hell yeah. I may live in the South, but I was born a Yankee.
Is that right? Well, I was
Truly.
born in the South, and I moved up to New Hampshire.
I was born in the North, and then I moved to the South, and I moved to the North.
Yeah, here we are. But I agree. I think he's right. I think absolutely every state should secede. There's no reason to have the federal government around. All
They're
it does
wasting
is
your money. They're making enemies.
Yeah.
They're
you get nothing out of it.
Imposing the results of the wrong-headed policies of one state on another. We should have 50 unique states.
They put a guy in prison for running a website. His name's Ross Ulbricht, and they want to put another guy in prison. His name's Julian Assange.
Yep.
This is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Vernon.
Did you know that Washington, D.C. is not part of the United States?
Ooh, now this is an interesting conspiracy theory.
Go ahead.
It is not a state.
Correct.
It is not a protectorate. It is not what they call
It's the district.
It's the capital
District of
region.
Columbia.
Yeah, but it's the District of Columbia. But it is not part of the United States. It's not listed anywhere as part of the United States.
Yeah, the original Constitution referred to something being delegated as the capital, but it was never really spelled out exactly how that would be. Interestingly,
And it changed. They started out in Philadelphia, and then they moved to D.C., right?
well, and New York there for a while too.
Oh, that's right. It was New York?
Yes. I happen to have lived near Hagerstown, Maryland, which has another town close to it called Williamsport, Maryland. Williamsport was where George Washington wanted the capital to be. And I will say that Williamsport, Maryland is what you get for coming in second.
Wow.
It's certainly not D.C. Vernon, what else you got for us?
In a good way or in a bad way?
It's
No,
not a good
I
way.
just that was my biggie. That, and I asked the guy who answered the phone about a commercial you guys had on about opting out of the federal income tax. The commercial said that the Congress had written in when they started it, and it was voluntary, had written into it a way to opt out, to no longer.
That's interesting. And then
we met
commercial-
those guys, the Weiss Paris guys, weissparis.com. We met them at the Anarchapulco event.
No kidding.
They have some very interesting ideas. If you like the idea that the D.C. isn't part of the United States, you probably would enjoy the stuff you'd read on their website. Thanks for the call, man.
Hey, thanks, Vernon.
Appreciate it.
Peace.
We're going to stay on the phones where we've got Greg calling in from New York. Greg, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, I just wanted, first of all, to address the previous caller. It's an interesting question. Is Washington, D.C. part of the United States? It's definitely not part of any state, and that was by design because the founders didn't want the federal government to be under the control or jurisdiction of any state.
Correct.
But originally it was carved out of territory of Maryland and Virginia, and then the territory of Virginia was returned to Virginia. So it's just a federal district, but it's technically not under the jurisdiction of any state.
Yeah, and it's pretty much ruled by Congress. Congress sort of has responsibility for funding and some level. They finally
It
did
has
get
its
some
own city
representation.
council, but it has to go through Congress in order to get approval and stuff, right?
I believe that's the case, yeah.
I don't even know. I know it's complex.
That it is. Greg, you also want to talk about the stock market?
Yeah. So I find these interesting definitions, socialism and capitalism. For the last 10 years, people have sort of been duking it out, and there's sort of this sense that socialism and capitalism are totally opposed. And then there's this weird thing that people basically call whatever they don't like socialism if they are, free market capitalists. Like, for example, they may point to the USSR, where the state would own a lot of things,
right?
Which in economic terms would normally be called state capitalism, right? When the state owns a bunch of things. but then they would call it socialism.
Well, it was in the title, right?
Yeah.
Union of Soviet Socialist Republics.
Yeah, and socialism is generally, I mean, in theory, they'll say it's when the community as a whole owns the resources, but we all know that's code for a bunch of government thugs will tell us that they represent us, and then they will allocate our resources as benefits them. So that's just more cronyism.
Central planning.
What
And
keeps
so-
people free is free markets. So if you don't like what a company is doing, you can go compete with them without permission from anybody.
We like to argue about socialism, so if it's okay with you, Greg, I'm going to put you on hold and we'll come back.
And I'll taunt you a second time.
I know, it almost felt like a setup there, but our number is 855-450-FREE. What do you think? Is socialism the same as capitalism? Free Talk Live.
Go to themorganreport.com and receive updates and insights you will not find anywhere else on the web. You will discover how to grow and protect your wealth under all market conditions. The Free Morgan Report provides interviews, webinars, question and answer sessions, plus mind-blowing videos. As David Morgan says, let my passion create your wealth. TheMorganReport.com. TheMorganReport.com.
Did you know you can legally exit the U.S. federal income tax system? Well, it's true, and thousands of American nationals are doing it. The 16th Amendment and the Internal Revenue Code are legal, but only in a limited jurisdiction. This is the basis behind the voluntary nature of the income tax. Learn the exit strategy provided by Congress. Find out more by visiting weissparis.com and watch our numerous videos. That's WEISS Paris.com.
I can definitely say that I have found the best cryptocurrency wallet. Certainly the best named one. I'm Mark Edge, and I love the Edge wallet. I've been using it for the last few months. You can buy, sell, trade, and hold your cryptocurrency securely. I trust my holdings of all the major cryptocurrencies to Edge wallet, and you should too. No long phrases to memorize, just a username and password. Secure your freedom with Edge wallet. Get it now on Apple or Android in the App Store or at edge.app.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's our toll-free number. If you'd like to call us up and join in the conversation, we'd love to have you. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about Twitch, twitch.lrn.fm. If you go there, you can not only listen to a radio show, but you can watch a radio show. How crazy is that? But what we do have are a lot of fans who like to watch the show. We've got cameras set up here in the studio, and they like to talk about what we're talking about. There's not only video, but there's also text chat, and I don't know, does Twitch have voice chat? I guess it's pretty much just us. But it's a pretty vibrant community over there. We're trying to build up our Twitch user base. There's some benefits that the show will receive if we can get some more people watching us on Twitch.
To me, it's more about the benefit of being able to reach other people.
Absolutely.
Because, it's not about the money. We're not concerned about the whatever few cents Twitch might bring in or whatever.
No.
But getting to have, possibly hundreds more people find the show through reaching a certain level of popularity on Twitch will mean more people finding the ideas of freedom. To me, that's the primary motivation.
Yeah, and to be clear, I am an unpaid spokesperson because I won't make a penny if we have 1,000 Twitch subscribers.
Well, now, we're talking about viewers.
Every dime.
Hold on, just to clarify, we're talking about viewers, not subscribers. We actually have about 60 subscribers right now, which is, I think, almost a record for our channel. And those are the people who have mostly sort of signed up with the Twitch Prime. So if you've got Amazon Prime, this is one of the benefits of having Amazon Prime is you get one free Twitch subscription per month, which you can assign to your favorite channel. And so I think probably like 59 out of the 60 or so have done that, and then maybe like 1 or 2 people have just straight up signed up by paying Twitch $5 a month. But again, that's not about the money for us, because if you want to give money to Free Talk Live and be effective at it, you can do it through the AMP program at amp.freetalklive.com or tip.lrn.fm, and then Free Talk Live gets more out of it. In fact, if somebody goes to tip.lrn.fm during the show, and we notice it, and we will, because it'll pop up into our chat, it'll pop up on the screen, I'll usually hand out cash right here in the studio. So actually you would benefit from something like that, but not from having more viewers, if that makes sense.
Correct.
Although more viewers may result in more tips. But
which is a good thing. And we've had a couple nights when it's gone kind of crazy in here.
We had one guy throw in a $90 tip one night. I split it up 3 ways in the studio.
That was great. We're going to get back to the phones where we've got Greg from New York. He was talking about stock market examples for socialism. Greg, are you still there?
Yeah, guys.
So please continue with your thoughts.
So I just wanted to clear up a lot of the confusion and meanings around the word socialism and capitalism. I call myself a social libertarian or libertarian socialist because I also oppose vast concentrations of power in the hands of a few people. But I don't only oppose it when it comes to states, people out of touch with their community, but also large corporations and private concentrations of wealth. And so if you look at this country, in the United States, we are actually ruled, or rather our economic system is organized largely around corporations. Corporations are our means of production.
And
most
oligarchy?
of the stuff that we...
Corporations are not the means of production. Corporations are government legal fiction constructs that basically exist to protect the wealthy, to protect the politically connected from liability for their actions. So you do not have to have a corporation to do business. you just can help people and provide a product and provide a service. The reason why people incorporate, especially moms and pops, is because it does provide some level of protection to incorporate to some extent from this system that's been forced upon us, which is the corporate system has been forced upon us, no doubt about it. In fact, you could even argue that without government corporations, the corporations that are so big and powerful today wouldn't exist because they'd be subject to market competition.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get off on a prophecy now, but according to my church, corporations are golems. And
your Church of the Invisible Hand?
Yes, Church of the Invisible Hand. And a golem is, if you're familiar with Jewish mysticism, it's a creature that was created by wizards to go out and do their bidding, and it was created without a heart or a soul, and it nearly always turned on its creator and ended up doing a lot more damage than good.
Sounds relatively
interesting. Well, also the corporate. I just want to describe life in the United States because it's often said that in the Soviet Union you were indoctrinated to serve the state, and then you drank yourself silly with vodka because life was so hard. Well, in the United States...
and also because you were Russian.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Some things you're not going to beat. Go ahead.
But in the United States, currently, today in the United States, 40% of Americans are one paycheck away from either homelessness or mercy of the landlord. They put their children... Both parents work for corporations, usually. Half of the American workers work for corporations. They put their children in public school, government school, so they can be raised to serve not the state but corporations. Those kids are medicated for ADD or ADHD, usually with methamphetamines, while the parents have an opioid epidemic now, and they are not very happy, and they have antidepressants as well.
So
1 in 4 middle-aged women.
Yeah, so what is your alternative? Because right now I'm with you in that we live in some form of oligarchy, that our lives are controlled some through politicians, but through people that are controlling the politicians.
It's a cluster bang.
What is your libertarian socialist view of how things should be?
Well, I believe, first of all, that government will eventually, a lot of government functions will be replaced by technology. I'm not just saying that. I'm building a lot of it myself. The post office has already been replaced by email. Our marketplaces, our meeting places and coffee are no longer the meeting halls. They are now online.
Okay.
All of these things are replacing. So what's
Are there
left
going to be robots out there randomly shooting black people?
Who knows?
I mean, that is a function of our government, so I just wanted to know if you were going to replicate it,
Certainly current.
I see. Well, no, they'll be shooting purple people.
Okay, well, groovy. I mean, I'm hoping they won't hurt anybody, because that purple guy probably just got, left out in the cold or something.
So, will your libertarian socialist, is there some taking care of people who can't take care of themselves? I assume you don't want to rely on crazy ideas like charity. Would you want me to have to contribute to your society to help take care of those who cannot take care of themselves?
I mean, sure, there should be charity, but I don't think people should rely on charity, just like elderly relied on charity for Social Security, and they lived in poor houses. Certainly, I don't think their lot was better then. But look, I think there are certain types of freedom, and I define freedom in the way that I think the average person defines freedom, which is that you're not coerced, neither by the government, but also not by a landlord trying to evict you or hunger in your belly. So those are also very coercive things. You got to work for McDonald's or some corporation.
I do appreciate the call, Greg.
Hunger is coercive.
I will come back to that statement when we come back, whether you're still here or not.
Yeah, we had to drop Greg, but some interesting
Sorry, Greg,
ideas
I hope
there.
you had a good landing.
We'll talk. 855-450-FREE, Free Talk Live.
The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The deep state began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, 855, 450 free. We've been listening to you and your phone calls all night long, and there will be no better way for me to finish out the night than to continue to hear from you. And we've got a couple people on the line. We're going to get to them, but right now I did want to talk to Free Market Penguin. Free Market Penguin, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, greetings, Colonel and Minister, and your Excellency or whatever.
Colonel? Who's the Colonel? Is that you, Chris?
That'd be you. I'm gonna just sound you right.
I usually go by His Holiness. Those are my pronouns.
Yeah, and I was a listed man, so I worked for a living.
You've been promoted. Anyway,
there we go.
Congratulations.
Great.
You waited a long time for that one.
Battlefield promotion. So what's on your mind?
Yeah. I just hearing my man Greg call. I just wanted to call and say, man, I just want to agree with everything he said and everything that he typically does say. I mean, he's pretty much spot on as a libertarian.
So you agreed with his statement that hunger is coercive? I think Rich wanted to speak to that.
Well, I don't think it's literally hunger is coercive. Like if you don't seek food, obviously not. But if you are forced through limited means of being able to obtain food, then it certainly can be. But I want to say real quickly first that I understand he thinks, oh, I'm coming from a left wing perspective. I'm a libertarian socialist. I just consider that libertarianism and maybe using leftist language. I mean, because to be honest with you, in a free market society.
But he doesn't believe in like landlords and private property, and as I understand it. I mean,
in a free market society, people are able to decide upon the property norms and that the market chooses that benefits people individually. So basically,
now, is the system you're describing here mutualism or what's it called?
I'm really into mutualism. I'm really into mutualism, but actually any of the libertarian property ethics all have some aspect of use built in, which any of the libertarian property ethics from mutualism, Georgism, or Lockean property ethics would be a vast improvement upon the status property organization we have now.
Maybe so, but should a landlord be able to evict a deadbeat tenant?
Well, the argument for most of these things, like for example, the argument that mutualists will make will tend to be, and probably this doesn't cover all mutualists, but the ones that I'm exposed to, they'll tend to not argue against like the communists, the socialists that want to forcibly abolish any practices, but through free market competition and through, for example, the reduction in scarcity of land from all the government and corporate land being able to be homesteaded, which is able to be homesteaded under a Lockean system too. But in addition, mutualists specifically, which is not what I exclusively believe in, but also believe in an occupancy and use, so an abolition or a non recognition of absentee property rights.
So hold on, let me just clarify something here. As somebody who doesn't know a whole lot about mutualism, but also likes the idea of homesteading and people being able to do that, and I'm not real clear on what the ideal property rights scenario should be. I don't like the idea that somebody should just be able to have a bunch of land and do nothing with it. So like I can understand some of this. So
mutualism does have a land standard that does something about that. My understanding is mutualism is basically lifetime tenancy when you homestead, and so basically what that means is if you abandon it, if you walk away from it, then somebody else can come in and homestead it.
Sure, but if I'm not abandoning it and instead I want to rent it out, is that possible in this system? Because what I heard from Greg and what I've heard from his previous calls is very anti-landlord, very anti.
I think that I think that renting land under that system, and correct me if I'm wrong here, would be rare because there's land available for homesteading.
There is
so you
now.
Don't have to.
Well.
And one would expect there would continue to be.
Well, why? Land is a finite resource. Eventually, if there's enough homesteading, enough migration into that resource, that land's going to get occupied to a large extent. And at that point, and even at the point where it's not occupied, not everybody wants to move onto the outskirts and start their own thing, right? Somebody wants to move into a city and have a job in downtown Keene. They're going to have to probably rent a place from somebody who's willing to give up that spot to rent it out.
Quite possibly. And that's the thing is renting out a building is not the same as renting out a piece of land.
Yeah.
It sort of can be too.
It depends.
I mean, a building is a thing that somebody built, and obviously it belongs to somebody because somebody built it.
On what? On land.
It's on land, but
it's an improvement upon land.
Remember, rent is theft is a slogan from a time when a lot of peasants were tenant farmers on working for lords who were government officials. Okay, and they were working on land that they didn't own. They stayed on the land at the mercy of the lord of the land, the landlord.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So this is not the same as the kind of landlordism we see today. Words, it's a very different arrangement that was
sure. Well, once again, I can understand the idea of having a huge swath of land that nobody ever does anything with, and saying, yeah, that's good for homesteading. The idea that somebody could own thousands of acres and just sit on it and do nothing, it seems ridiculous. So I could go that far.
Under
but at the
an
same
AMCAP
time,
system, I would say that wouldn't happen too often because people would have to bear the full force, the full cost of defending their own land.
Right. So in that case,
the more homeless people there are, the more security guards you have to hire to do that. And so eventually I think people would withdraw from claims.
What about a smaller plot of land? Can I have a plot of land under this mutualism? Can I have a plot of land that I just want to keep because I like a pristine piece of property? And how much can I have of that?
Yeah, free market?
Well, mutualism basically is based around, to boil it down, is basically if you don't use it, you lose it. You own basically what
does it mean to use? Hold on.
Mutualist
I want to ask another question.
Though.
I want to ask another question about this. What does it mean to use the land? I mean, you could argue that if I want to keep it pristine, then therefore I don't want to make any changes to it. But if I go ahead and put in a pond and a bench, does that mean that the land is used? And for what distance does that push out the usedness of that land?
This is where it gets tricky.
That's a little bit of a because obviously use means usually for economic production, and I'm not sure how or why you're using that for economic production. I mean, if it was part of your home, I guess. So that's one of those.
Why does it have to be for economic production? I mean, if I go out and shoot on the land, that's not for production. I'm expending resources in that case.
I guess my question is if an idea behind mutualism is mutually beneficial activities, then do I cease to have any property rights at all? If I have to provide something with my land or with my building or whatever else, and I have to provide that, did I just not lose all my rights?
Okay, well, mutualism basically is going to be centered around the individual ownership of land. So it's basically a radical philosophy coming around the same time as communism. And their idea was basically the same but radically different, which is instead of communal ownership, but radically individual ownership of land. Because individual ownership in free markets leads to the goal of communism more efficiently.
But basically,
and where does mutualism fall on ownership of productive goods, the so-called means of production?
A factory or
Mutualists want those in private hands, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They tend to believe that the state subsidizes the corporate structure, and that more people in a free market would choose a cooperative.
We would see about that.
Yeah,
we've got a lot of common ground with you guys from everything I've read about mutual.
Free market, we're going to bring you back because I'm interested. 855-450-FREE, Free Talk Live.
And Gillette. He's keynoting Freedom Fest this year. I, for one, am thrilled. Freedom Fest is the largest liberty-oriented gathering in the world. They take a Big Ten approach with libertarians, conservatives, liberals, anarchists, capitalists, and just open-minded people mingling together to hear real debates, share real solutions, and converse freely. This year's theme is the Wild West, a time of liberty and opportunity, or a time of anarchy and violence. Maybe both. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and get your tickets now. freedomfest.com/FTL. Not convinced yet? Hey, I understand. It's a high-end event, even with coupon code FTLEB. Sure, you're likely to receive investment advice that'll make that sum seem paltry, but I have something special for you. Go to freedomfest.com/FTL and you'll get the 5 best speeches from last year for free. Call it a test drive. Do yourself a favor and go to freedomfest.com/FTL. freedomfest.com/FTL. Use coupon code FTLEB for a discount.
Know someone with a drinking or drug problem? Learn how to get sober after we share these stories.
I was 35 with 2 beautiful children when my life and addiction started to spiral out of control. After my divorce, I went into a depression cycle and started drinking more often and using prescription drugs. After my second DWI and arrest, my ex-husband threatened to take our children away from me.
I was 17 when I became addicted to heroin and meth. I thought I could quit on my own, but I couldn't. It hit me when I was arrested.
Get sober now. Your private insurance may cover costs and we'll get you here. It's simple. Just call Elite Rehab Placement right now. Please don't wait. Your life matters to us. 800-213-9264. 800-213-9264. 800-213-9264. Call right now before it's too late. 800-213-9264.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855 450 free. Kind of coming to the end of our show tonight, but we still have some calls we want to get to. If you want to try to get on the air, you can certainly get in queue, 855 450 free. But right now, we are going to go back to Free Market Penguin, where we've been talking a couple ideas around property rights and the ideas of mutualism and I guess at some degree anarcho-capitalism, and how do we deal with property rights in our society. Free market, you still there?
Yeah.
All right.
So a free market society, often these things are not based on the abolition of X, Y, or Z, but the free market, the choice of truly free people would be able to kind of decide on these things through market choice of whether to cooperate and exchange with different people. So, you know, the whole point of anarcho anything basically is don't force it and let the market decide, except that ANCOMs don't believe in markets. So they're pretty problematic as far as I'm concerned.
ANCOM stands for anarcho-communist. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
The thing is, though, I don't feel the need to argue with anarcho-capitalists because it's like, I don't think what they are...
Communists or capitalists?
Anarcho-communists. Because I don't think what they would do would work very well. But to me, it's just like, okay, sure, you help us smash the state, and then if you want to go off and do your thing,
but they want to build another
communal
state,
land, go do it.
I mean, don't
not
the
anarcho-capitalist in theory.
No, but I mean the commies, the anarcho-commies, don't they just want their own state?
People say that what they want is a state, and they in turn say that what anarcho-capitalists want is
I'm not
a bunch of mini-states.
Right.
I just want freedom, that's all.
So
Is that so hard?
You know,
I don't
Both
think
are
that's
potentially
necessarily
true, though.
accurate.
Both are potentially true if you don't, make every effort to stay within the market and not absolute non-coercion. Because of what I understand, anarcho-communists are fine up until they say, will you accept people using money for market exchange? And a lot of them wouldn't. And then
they want a gift economy.
Yeah.
Is that what they're into?
Some of them.
Yes.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, Orwell actually, when he
Ridiculous.
was in Spain, wrote about being in a barber shop and seeing a sign that had been hung up by the anarchists who were anarcho-communists, and the sign said that tipping was punishable by death.
Oh my God!
And Orwell was horrified by this. And his reaction was, the new masters are no better than the old masters, maybe worse.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, anarcho.
I think that's part of what inspired Animal Farm.
Free Market Penguin, thanks so much for your call.
Yeah,
It was,
good conversation.
Yeah, definitely, and be sure to call back in. We're going to stay on the phones, and we're going to go to Mike in Alabama. He's listening to us on the TuneIn app. Mike, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hi, I have a question about jury nullification.
Yes,
sure.
So a couple years ago, when I first heard about jury nullification, the guy that was telling me about it told me that basically if jury nullification happened, that a law would be removed.
No, and
it's only nullified in that one instance. So a jury nullification, for listeners that aren't familiar, is the idea of a jury. It's an ages-old right, 1,000-year-old right of a juror to...
Going back to the Magna Carta.
It goes way back. And for the juror to be able to nullify a bad law. So the idea is the jury is the final check on an out-of-control government, because the jury could still have a conscience collectively, and they could say, no, do not convict this person of, say, possession of marijuana or selling marijuana or whatever stupid law that people know is a bad thing. But unfortunately, that doesn't result in the law being overturned.
Although I will say this, that if, for example, half of the marijuana charges that they brought started getting nullified, I'll bet you $1 we would stop having prosecutions.
I bet you're right.
And I'll tell you, one of the biggest weakeners of the fugitive slave laws, which were passed by your government. Yes, if your slave runs away, you can go out and collect him or her and bring them back to your plantation.
And Northerners have to help you.
Yes, they have to. But what happened was Northern juries nullified this. What that meant was when there was a trial bringing charges against somebody for not returning a slave, everybody on the jury would just say, I know you presented great evidence, but we find him not guilty.
Right, because the law is wrong. And enough pushback like that, you're right, Rich, enough pushback, they'll give up. In fact, we see it even on a micro scale where James Cleveland, who used to be a host here on Free Talk Live, was charged with obstructing justice or something like that and disorderly conduct. Or no, it was resisting arrest and disorderly or obstructing. Anyway, the jury found him not guilty on one of the counts and hung on the other count. So remember, with jury nullification, even if you don't get a pure not guilty, meaning if everybody doesn't vote not guilty, if you're the only one of the 12 that votes not guilty, you've still hung that jury. You've still made it so they have to consider rebringing charges.
That gives the defendant another bite at the apple. It creates a new expense for the state. And
they didn't bring back that charge.
Public relations. Yeah, most
Against
of
James,
the time they won't recharge you.
Yeah. Well, in New Hampshire, because we do require unanimous juries, there are...
What states do they not?
Is it Mississippi or
Louisiana,
one of the
maybe?
Louisiana.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you.
Louisiana
Get out of there.
Like Satan's legal
But
system.
they're trying to pass a law to change that. I don't know if it
I
passed
did
or
hear
not.
about that.
Yes. That's interesting.
It's going to be cold comfort for those guys in prison cells there who, wrongfully convicted.
And we really do encourage... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay, so apparently I was me and maybe the guy I heard it from was severely misinformed.
Well, that would be awesome, man. If a jury could just say no to a crime and then have it removed from the books automatically. Wow,
it takes a little bit more work.
Maybe we should work on that in New Hampshire.
Good proposal.
Add that prize to the jury nullification law.
Yeah, I love it. Unfortunately, it's not that easy.
I thought about that, but I'm actually doing some research for a speech I'm writing, and it's not anything of significance. It's just a Toastmaster speech, but I'm doing some research for it, and I've been reading a lot, and that's all I've.
Have you gone to the fully informed?
Real things I've heard about.
Have you gone to the Fully Informed Jury Association? It's FIJA, FIJA.org. Have you researched there?
Yeah, I did read some stuff there.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's where everybody ought to go if they want to learn more about jury nullification. They're kind of the go-to nationwide group to do that.
Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah,
it's a suggestion.
That's kind of disappointing, though. I thought that jury nullification could be a check on an abusive government.
It's a check.
Well, it is
a minor
check.
Yeah.
The reason that I think it's good that it doesn't necessarily nullify the entire law is it may well be that there's a third type of law where the law is not necessarily unjust on its face, but is unjustly applied.
Okay.
And so you wouldn't really want those laws to disappear just because they were, for example, somebody who used the disorderly conduct statute to prevent somebody from protesting, where he was within his rights to protest. That would be a spot for jury nullification of a, normally not too bad law.
But somebody who might have walked down the street in front of cars blocking traffic as disorderly conduct, maybe you shouldn't nullify in that case.
Yeah, because there you're blocking the movement of others.
Which is one of the definitions of disorderly conduct. That's one of the reasons the statute exists.
Yeah, so to me, I think that if a law is sufficiently bad and everybody knows about jury nullification, a lot of people are going to start nullifying it, and that's when you're going to see that law go away.
I think the key points for me in jury nullification are a juror on his own, without dealing with anyone else, can judge not only whether or not a crime was committed, but it can judge the law itself say this is valid. This should be a law, or I can say, no, it's not, and nobody needs to know the business.
And that's what people need to know.
And it only takes 8% of the population.
Yeah, to just understand those simple facts.
But the real key here, though, is in order for juries to be able to engage in jury nullification, people have to take charges to trial, and almost nobody does that.
Mike, thanks for your call.
Absolutely.
We've run out of time, but what an interesting night. We've been all over the board, which we like to be, because that means lots of topics and lots of interchange with our customers, with our listeners.
Off the board.
See you
Free
tomorrow.
Talk Live. Good night.
Gold is a We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations.